This broadcast of the 2010 Kilimanjaro Marathon is proudly sponsored by Kilimanjaro Premium Lager. Situated in the East African Rift Valley region, Tanzania is rapidly becoming one of Africa's top road running nations. Together with Kenya and Ethiopia, this country is now producing some of the best distance runners in the world. And in Moshi, close to the southern border with Kenya, we find one of the continent's most important events, the Kilimanjaro Premium Lager Marathon, run at the base of Africa's highest mountain, Mount Kilimanjaro, in Tanzania. The Keys Hotel in Moshi was the epicenter of pre-race activities and the place where the runners gathered to register for one of the events on offer. They came from all over the world to the event for a variety of reasons.
I like running and the weather is different, and even to tour. So that makes me come all the way.
I'm looking to have a good time and finish hopefully in a reasonable time.
It's the first time I've ever been in Tanzania, and definitely the first time I'm running this marathon, and we're just going to give it a bash. And if it's nice, we will come back.
I think because it's a very unique marathon. There's not many marathons you can run with the highest mountain in Africa in the background.
Hapa nakuja mara kwa mara kwa ajili ya kushiriki mbio za Kilimanjaro Marathon kwa sababu ni mbio ambazo zinaibua vipaji vipya kwa wachezaji kwa kila mwaka na ambazo zimeboreshwa vizuri zaidi. Tukizingatia tukiendelea kuenzi mlima Kilimanjaro.
The Kilimanjaro Marathon just has to be run. I'm doing the half, but it's great atmosphere, nice people, and good beer at the end.
Yeah, I've got now 2 ice cold beers because I run the full one, so I will be a bit more thirsty.
This is my second visit here. I was here last year. I was very, very impressed by the organization and the detail that was put and the work that put into the race. So if it goes on like this for the next few years, it will indeed be one of the major races, not only in East Africa, but in Africa and possibly in the entire world.
Race organizer John Addison has been involved with the event since its inception and is amazed by the way that it has grown.
Yeah, this is the 8th event in a row and the numbers have definitely gone up, especially the fun run, which has increased massively. So there's a lot of people on the roads tomorrow. In terms of internationals, much more. We've brought in a lot of people from all over the world who are basically coming here for sports tourism, holidays, Serengeti, and then going up the mountain and that sort of thing, climbing Kili. So it's brilliant, it's doing its job, it's what we wanted to do. It's a great honour to have the Prime Minister honouring us with his presence as a guest of honour. Just proves how big this race has got and how important it is to the community and the area as a whole. And no, it's great, it's a feather in the race's cap, I think.
This year, the day before the marathon, a golf day was organised by TPC for the event sponsors. TPC has its own course, and the idea was to welcome the sponsors, many of whom had come all the way from Dar es Salaam, and to create a weekend full of sport.
It's a great opportunity to interact socially and on the golf course with when we all have a common interest, which is the sponsorship of a Kilimanjaro Marathon.
Tanzania Breweries Limited, brewers of Kilimanjaro Premium Lager, recently launched a new advertising campaign for the beer, focusing on soccer, the music, and of course, the marathon. The theme was to run across the country to Kilimanjaro.
We launched a campaign which was we called Taking Tanzania to Greater Heights. I mean, based on the properties of Kili, soccer, music, and the marathon. We launched a campaign of Taking Tanzania to Greater Heights, and by doing so, we said should be linked with an activity which is physical running the flag from the capital city of Dar es Salaam to the top of the Mount Kilimanjaro. We ran the flag for 5 days from Dar es Salaam to Marangu. Night overs, we slept in like after 100 kilometers, we spent a night there. With, the night we always hype the village with promotions and, there's a CCR campaign, there's always a backup from journalists and reporting what is going on daily basis. And, it took us like using 7 Tanzanian runners on a relay level of 10 kilometers each. But again, the challenge was not to take the flag from Dar es Salaam to Marangu. It was basically to take from Marangu to the peak, which we use a local Tanzania. We normally use 3 days to reach the peak, but this guy ran the flag for 8 hours, non-stop, from the bottom to the 5,893 meters above sea level. It was a challenge to both of us, it was a challenge to the journalists, it was a challenge to the camera crews, because, for someone to match that speed was absolutely amazing. We normally put it this way. This is Kilimanjaro region. You run the Kili Marathon and you drink the Kilimanjaro Premium beer.
The marathon route started and finished in Moshi, making several loops on the way, including a long out and back turn. The first race to get underway was the Kilimanjaro Premium Lager Marathon. A large group of runners, many of them from foreign countries, lined up just after sunrise.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2010 Kilimanjaro Premium Lager Marathon, 8th edition of this stupendous international marathon.
Many looked apprehensive, knowing just how long and tough the full marathon journey would be. The starting gunshot and the cheering of the large crowd caused the runners' adrenaline levels to rise, and the men at the front sprinted away, eager to get out of the stadium and onto the road. Behind them, slower runners set off at a more sedate and sustainable pace. It was, after all, 42 kilometers ahead. The DT Dobie lead car showed the top men the way, and soon they were into central Moshi, with only a handful of spectators out so early in the morning to witness this spectacle. The elite women were already some way back, but just as keen to start settling into racing mode. The leaders soon arrived at the first refreshment station, sponsored and manned by the Keys Hotel staff. It was interesting to see how many runners took an early drink, reinforcing how important hydration is in a marathon run effectively on the equator. At the Tanzania Brewery's water point, there was a large group of more than 20 runners still in contention, pointing to a very competitive race later in the day. Although not so large in terms of elite athletes, the women's race was also at a very high level of excellence, with Helen Mukro leading from Freda Lodepa and Eveline Atancha. The helpers at the KK Securities water point were in high spirits.
Yeah, we are enjoying for saving them because we are the main sponsor. That's why.
After the first turnaround point, the runners ran through Moshi again. The men's lead group had dwindled a little, while Freda Lodope was now alone in second place and chasing hard. Eveline Atancha was a crucial 20 seconds back in third spot. In fourth place now was the second Tanzanian runner, Lia Kuja. As the leaders moved out of central Moshi, they passed the well-stocked refreshment stations. First up was the Goodyear Tyre station, while further on, the New Africa Hotel station also offered runners a welcome drink. Once out of town, the route went northwards on a long uphill section that would test the athletes' endurance, resolve, and stamina. This was a key part of the route in terms of the elite runners' tactical approach to the race. Back in the stadium, it was time for the half marathon to start. Once again, the atmosphere was festive, but with a little less tension on the faces of the runners this time round. After all, 21 kilometers is a lot less daunting than a full 42,2 for the marathon. As the crowd surged away, it was clear that another top-class event with superb times was in the offing. In terms of numbers, this race was bigger than the full marathon, and the field took several minutes to clear the stadium precinct. Out on the road, the leaders were running sub-3-minute kilometers with more than 20 men in the lead group. A remarkable sight for the spectators, officials, and helpers. The Kilimanjaro water refreshment station boasted a welcome water shower.